to another gorgeous day on planet Earth and another day of a dose of Did You Know, where intriguing, inspiring, unique individuals come to talk about love and life and how it has brought them to where they are today. I am your host, Danny Rocco, and with me is the beautiful Hillary. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I am doing great, and I love on the back there, like those initials. I always love that. I have like crap back here. Well, this is not crap. This is like amazing, but
Right.
behind that is nothing as fancy as what you got going on.
Thank you. I got it at like a flea market for like $30. So I figured just why not get it?
Shut up. I love those finds when you're just like out and about and you're like, dang, or like shoes. Or I
Right.
found like this retro hat once, and I was like, very cool. All right. Side note, I get like totally squirreling with pretty things. Very easy for me to do. But before we get going, tell the world a little bit about who Hillary is.
Hey, y'all. My name is Hillary Reese. I'm a 14-year-old country singer from Mississippi. I'm a singer, songwriter. I play guitar, piano, anything music you're going to be able to find through me.
What? Okay. I gotta go like, what is it like to be 14? You have a huge following. You're doing like amazing things. Not like you are doing amazing things out there. What is that like being 14? I mean, you probably don't even know any difference. This is all you know, but I need some sort of insight here.
Well, I mean, I live in a small town, so I'm definitely like the only person who does stuff like this, But I don't know. I don't know what my life would look like not doing this. It's definitely though an adult world and an adult industry,
Yeah.
full of, people who are like 60 and 80 and all this stuff. So going into those rooms and meetings can be a little bit challenging sometimes, but I mean, I love music so much. It's all worth it.
All right, do you come from a music background? Like, how did this love get stuck in you? Because again, this is something like I feel like you're born with it. It is something God sprinkled before the existence of, you taking your first breath. Is that what it was like? Or is it something that you grew to love?
I think I've always loved it so much. I didn't come from a musical family at all. My daddy's a football coach. My mom is a teacher. But me and my brother were both really into music. It was weird. Like we both just gravitated towards it so much. But 24/7 in the house, it was Hannah Montana that was on, and Victorious, and all these musical shows. So I think that really made us love music and start off loving it. And we had the radio on 24/7 too. So I mean, just growing up with that environment of my family who didn't force us into sports and things like that, they really let us choose our own path. I'm really grateful for. But yeah, music is just something I think I was definitely born to do because I knew I loved it since I was a kid.
All right. So what does that look like? Like, because you can love something and you can do it as your hobby, but you have jumped into it as a profession. I mean, at 14, you have a profession, something that it takes people, good golly, a long time to find out. Some people never find that, that passion and purpose. But what brought you from going to, I enjoy this, I like it, it's in my blood, to saying, I want to go into the next step? And what does that look like? Like, I mean,
Well, I kind of fell into it. I never really imagined that it could go this far. I mean, again, I'm from a really small town from Mississippi, so nobody really did this. But I started putting videos on Facebook when I was like 8, and that's when I did my first performance at like a talent show. And then they started picking up momentum and started going viral. So I just started doing little music videos and lives and things like that. And it kind of just grew from there. And then I talked to my parents. I was like, I really want to take this seriously, and I really want to put all of what I got into this. And we have, or I have, and it's just
yeah.
out. So I'm really, really lucky, and I'm still working every single day. But at the end of the day, I just love music. So I knew I had to, follow this.
Yeah. Okay. I have a couple questions here. I'm going to try, because sometimes I like throw 5 questions out at once. And the person's like, what do you want me to answer first? So I'm going to try to do this without doing that to you. Okay. Social media, things like that. As a parent, well, my kids are all grown, and that wasn't really big when they were growing up, but it is now. So I have nieces, and I know like my brother and my sister-in-law are very vigilant about like what is allowed to
Well, me and my mom, we were together every step of the way with social media. So, she monitored everything, and I didn't really look deep into it. I was just doing the posting, the surface stuff. My dad, he doesn't understand Facebook. He can barely send an email, so he didn't really get too involved in that. But my mom definitely did. And they monitored everything that I posted. And at the end of the day, I was still a kid in public school, so we were very cautious of what we posted because there's a lot of crazy people out there.
Yep, that's why I had to ask. I'm like, how did you not get sucked into crazy, or your parents weren't worried about the crazy? Well, there you go. You guys did it as a team, not just kind of an individual. So, do
Right.
you still go to school? Like, are you a normal? Well, is there a normal school where you are right now? I mean,
There is normal school here. Mississippi is at 100% capacity, but I'm not in public school or I don't go to a regular school. I did for majority of my life because again, my parents are both in the education system. But it got to the point where I was missing so much, and teachers they were like, "Oh, it's fine," but then here's 3 weeks of makeup work. So it got to the point it was just a lot to balance. So I kind of just had to be like, "Okay, I think I'm self disciplined enough to do homeschool. Please let me do it." I had to beg my parents forever to let me do it, and finally they did. But I absolutely love it, and especially in this day and age of COVID, I got the chance to get adjusted to it before the world, you know, got spun on its head.
yeah, you got to step in the front door first.
Right.
And that has been hard, especially your parents being teachers, and like their world is actually in, face to face education with a classroom, very traditional. And so for you to fight it, did you just persistence and then had to be like, did they give you a time frame? Like, look, Hillary, we're going to do this, but if you basically screw up, we're pulling you. I mean, like, what did that conversation look like?
I mean, my mom like literally begs me every day, like, "Are you sure you don't want to go back to public school? Like, are you sure you don't want to be normal?" But they basically said, like, if you don't get your work done, if you don't meet your deadlines, then you're going back. And they don't really monitor me with it. I mean, they check in every once in a while, but I'm through an online curriculum, so I do it all myself. But yeah, I was really persistent about it. I had just moved schools like 4 hours away. So, and my dad had gotten a new job up there. So it was all kind of crazy. And then I gave that school like 3 months and I just couldn't make it work between my schedule. And I didn't feel like I really felt that it fit in.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, I didn't really fit in there. And I was like, look, I think God's calling me to follow my passion right now. These kids here, they're super nice. I like them, but I just don't think I can balance it all. So finally they said, okay, we'll let you, but don't let us down.
Ooh, this is so. I love when I meet younger, like the younger generation, and they've got their stuff together. It is such a lesson for us older individuals that we get so stuck in our ways and fearful and all of this. And really, if we can just like make our minds go simple, because it is very simple, and just follow what God puts in our path, we as adults would be so much more happy. So for you, and I don't know if it's because you're 14 and you haven't had that much life experience,
Right.
so it's easier for you to kind of go for it. But it really is if you just follow the steps that you took. You obviously have a passion. You have a connection with God. You listen. You receive what's happening, and it allows you to take that step into what you want.
Yeah, I'm super lucky because I grew up, in a very spiritual based family. I grew up in church, which I'm super lucky to have done. Um, but I definitely have a close knit relationship with God. I thank Him for everything. He is the reason I have any of this.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, and I definitely think, if you just listen to Him, it's definitely a process learning how to listen to Him, though. But just listening to Him, I mean, He won't steer you wrong. So that's kind of what I try and base everything off of.
Yeah, well, it took me longer, not at 14 yet. 14, oh, I was hell on wheels. I was not put together like you are. It took a while for me to get to that thinking that you have.
Right.
You can just really attack life with passion and, you know, zealous and just like all of those great things,
Right.
and just it will just, you can see the things come even when it's hard. I mean, have you come across some challenges that you have questioned yourself, or you haven't, not yet?
I definitely have. I mean, this industry, it's a big industry, but it's super small. So, gossip's really big in this industry and, lies and things like that. So it's kind of hard to know who you can trust and then who you can fall back on at times. And there's definitely times where you're like, oh my gosh, have I made the right decision? Should I be here? Should I not be here? Things like that. But I think at the end of the day, your gut is a big thing. So, I think there's a difference between your feelings and your gut. Your gut is that intuition, that driving force. And I really think you have to listen to it a lot in this industry because it's brutal. It really is.
I mean, I can't even imagine. I have to say, like I was listening to you and looking at your photos. I have this conversation with a lot of close people to me about, especially young girls, that like use their body to get ahead instead of their talent and their soul to get ahead. So I was like looking, I was like, oh, she's sweet. Like she is using her gifts and not like an external. I feel like you're using your internal. But you get pressure because the industry, it can be very like glitz and glam and sexy and all of this. Do you feel like any pressure for that? Or are you pretty, haven't had that yet?
I mean, I think I have had that pressure in the past, but at the end of the day, I think it's up to every girl to set their own boundaries. So do whatever makes you feel confident and comfortable, in your skin, how you want to represent yourself on your platform. If you want to show some more skin, that's what makes you feel confident. Go ahead. But if you don't, that's great too. So I think you're going to have that pressure. Sometimes you're going to be like, but you're going to get it either way. Like, oh, you should cover up or, oh, you shouldn't, yada, yada. You're going to get both sides of it. So I think as long as you stick to your boundaries and you set those boundaries with the people that surround you and your team, then I think you'll be okay sticking to that.
Mm, another good lesson, is creating those boundaries with the people that are close to you that you trust before, being proactive before you're even faced with something like that. So you can go in with some sort of armor, instead of being
Right.
blindsided. I think that's what we do, right? In life, sometimes we don't have any plan or any boundaries or balance. So when situations come up, we're like, woo! It's chaos. Chaos goes
Right.
on, and you don't have your standards. So by you setting that is great advice out there for any of any age. Like it doesn't matter, and for any walk of aspect of your life, huge huge thing. So tell me, what do you have that's new coming up that you're looking forward to? And do you, because I'm assuming, COVID's kind of, the world's getting back to normal, and it will get back to normal. So are you thinking of that future?
I definitely am. I have a ton of new stuff coming up. I think I really took the time with COVID to just write a ton and, connect with people virtually that I otherwise wouldn't have been able to meet, because again, I'm in Mississippi and that's far from Nashville and, LA, New York, and places like that. So, I mean, it's kind of the silver lining in it. I mean, obviously it was a really bad situation, but we kind of had to, do what we could.
Mm-hmm.
But I just got back from the studio, recording new music. We've been filming a lot of stuff recently. I'm so excited.
Fun. Do you get to be part of that creativity of like the filming and the videos and the photography? Do you get to do that, or is it more you put that into someone else's hand and you focus more on the music?
I try to be the creative director on all of my stuff. So we just filmed something really cool. I can't give away details yet,
Okay.
but I, wrote the whole script, the whole outline, everything like that. But it's really important for me to have my hands on everything, just because this is the time to soak it all up, to learn, to grow, And I want everything that I put out with my name on it to represent me and to have my whole heart in it.
Mm, yeah. And if it's going to be fully you, you have to have some sort of part in it. You're right.
Right,
You can't just give it all away. So how cool is that to learn? Like, oh, right?
right.
Hands-on experience with you being actually the hands-on too. Like
It is.
You know,
It's
you can't pay for
blast.
that stuff.
Right. It's definitely a blast. And I'm super lucky that I get to do it. But I definitely make my own, like, okay, I want to be involved in this. I want to have, control over this. I might be a little too type A, but like, I'm like, okay, let's build this together, but I'm going to be involved in the building process.
Oh, so fun, so fun. So, do you have a new song coming out? I know you said you have stuff, or is it all secret and you can't say anything?
Well, I have been working on a lot of new music. So I'm not sure if we're going to do it one song at a time, if we're going to try and save it up. It's kind of all in that process where I just had to go into the studio and just get everything released, get everything put on a CD. Well, not that CDs are even around anymore, but get everything, recorded. But I think we're trying to just wait and figure it out and just see what comes with it.
Well, it will work its way out, as you know. Whatever it's
It
going to
will.
be will be amazing. And I am so glad that we connected. I'm so glad that you could share your wisdom, your 14 years of wisdom, because, girl, you have a lot of it. So
Thank you.
it's like you're an old soul.
I feel 80, honestly. Like I tell everybody that. But thank you so much for having me on.
You are so welcome. But before I let you go, this is the last question I ask everybody, and I ask that you answer it with the first thing that comes to your heart. You don't even have to explain it. It's usually whatever's there, it should be there in this moment right now, Hillary. What does love mean to you?
Ooh, I think love means trust in this moment. So being able to trust the people around you wholeheartedly, being able to know that you can fall back on them. Um, and that's with any type of relationship. That's with your family, that's with your boyfriend, God. That love, I think, ultimately means trust.
Hmm. I love that. Is really good. Having that unconditional trust is so, it takes the stress off of you.
It
It's
does.
amazing how much you don't have to worry when you have that complete trust. And it's a hard thing to allow ourselves to do, but I think if we do a little bit each day, it becomes more powerful.
Definitely. I'm not a trusting person like at all. That's honestly it's one of my good and bad qualities. But I don't know. I think, learning to trust somebody is so important, especially like I'm again, very type A, so I like to have control of everything and I like my to-do list and things like that. So just being able to, kind of take that off you and know that it's going to be okay and just breathe. That's all the difference.
Mm. Well, you are a beautiful soul. Thank you for blessing us with your voice and your knowledge. I am really looking forward to seeing what all comes out. If it's one song, if it's an album, whatever it is, it's going to be fun and amazing. I know that. And for everybody else that is out there, remember, as always, love hard, love pure, and love proactive. Until next time, take care.
Thanks. Bye.